So this will be my test. Here's my 5-port switch and a piece of the plexiglass left over. So I'm going to try to mount it on here. I'm just going to make sure I find the right tool to do all the cutting between this and my tool set. And then once I figure out the best way to do it, then I'll work on the big one. Good thing I practiced. The hole I drilled first matched the size of this. Let me refocus. And when I realized after I drilled it, this is supposed to go into the board right there. Plugs in there. I was supposed to drill a hole to match that. So this can hold it onto the board. So now I'm going to try that again. There's a pin. Should fit right in. And now mount it here. Should hold. Yep. Hold sturdy. So this works. I'm about to force it out. But I now know that this setup works. And now I can line everything up on here and know I have a base. Next phase is to try to put this 5-port switch mount through here also. Now that I have it set, works, no cracks. I can try it out on here. Lined up with that, and it holds. Same thing with the other switch. Lined up on that, and it holds. Not too much wiggle room. This one might have to be dialed back a bit, but it holds. Then I'll have to do this one sideways, and this one with a longer screw, and this one I'll just detach the base. I loosened the base from this, the bracket. This one I just loosened it. So there's a little bit of room here. But I can take this one out. Get its mounting position. Drill that in. Line everything up, make sure it's good. And these are pretty much ready to go. I can probably just, to make it easier, pull most of these patch cables out. Get a little cleaner install. Right now I only have one device plugged in. That's a lot cleaner. All these old brackets, pins, I can take out. Any more? So this is pretty clear. Let's move all the unused ones out of the way. Now we have a lot more room to work with. And we're going to double check, make sure everything fits properly. Just to touch base, everything with the map that I made looks like it's going to work out. So we're going to take this first sheet of plexiglass just to test it on there. Make sure it fits, make sure it doesn't have to be resized. Alright, it's hard to see, but the first plexiglass is in. Goes up to about 18 inches in there. Nice and snug. Next I'll come back and mark mounting posts possibly. And then mark places where I'm going to put all the equipment. Make sure they don't overlap. Then I should be good to go. And then I'll do the same thing with the second piece of plexiglass. Didn't quite fit. I have to cut a thin strip off the top and a notch at the bottom so it can fit around the green ground wire right there. Once I cut this piece off and that, I should be good to go. I've cut them, measured them, they both fit together. This is where they join and some possible mounting locations. And now I'm going to start putting the equipment where they can be, where I think they will be. And while I'm doing that, I'll figure out exact placements so I know exactly how this is going to work. So now I'm going to continue fiddling with this layout until I get it to match this as best as possible. See how that works out. And if everything is a go, then I'll mark the locations where I'm going to mount the screws in here and drill those holes carefully, and then we should be ready for the next phase. Finally have all the holes drilled and the screws ready for them to be mounted. Everything in its location has been measured. We said all these have been screwed in and set to the correct height and depth. Here I'm being mounted back into the box too deeply into the acrylic as to not crack it. This next section I realized I didn't have a video prepared for it, just a photo. Almost there. Everything's wired up. Everything's working. I just need to find a place to put these in and dress up these. Wasn't really able to mount this one, but not that big of a deal. I can just pop it open. You can see the lights. See lights. All the power is here. Cut it off if I need to. You can see its lights. So it's all good. Soon that can go on. Finally. Finally, I can close this thing. Never have to worry about random people touching it. Although this should have been done like a year and a half ago. But now it's essentially good to go.